So, chapter 2, it's continuing with World War One and Dalston during that time. Dalston Court during the Great War, 1914 to 1918. Wartime notes. 1914, the school was short of coal for heating. The boys cut up trees into logs. The boys assisted the war effort by knitting mittens, scarves, and balaclavas to keep Tommies warm somewhere in France. 1915, Mr. Percy was the first old Dalstonian to lose his life in service of his country. He was loyal, unselfish, and always thoughtful of others. There were 41 boys on the school roll in 1915. Buchanan, the school's black and white cat, caught a mouse on his first day at Dalston. Mr. Atkinson, the headmaster, expected Dalstonians to be of service to others. A system of school monitors was introduced. Some of the jobs were librarian, curator, ink filler, postmaster, and stoker, and coal heaver. A stoker is someone who pokes the fire to make sure it stays ignited. In the Dalstonian for 1916, Atkinson described part of his education system, so this is the headmaster. These were some of the principles: hygiene, good manners, posture, form, manners, and copper plate handwriting. Rugby football was introduced to the school in the spring of 1916. It was in 1916 that monitors were given a new title of court officials. Very fancy indeed. The school curriculum in 1916 included the 3 R's: reading, writing, arithmetic, Latin, Greek, French, geometry, and the arts. This devised flock of sheep kept the grass on the cricket field short. I'm sure Rick would enjoy that help if we got some sheep in. Molly Atkinson organised the school picnic to Studland. The boys paddled for an hour and went crab catching. And this is something that we still do today. We have our annual beach trips, don't we? And that's why. The Cadet Corps was presented with a drum to go along with their bugles in June 1916. And a little bit later on, you'll be able to see the Cadet Corps practicing and training. The school took over Maycroft, a nearby house, and connected it to the main building by means of a passage. So you can see some of these photos of Dalston on the beginning slide on my interactive on the whiteboard where I'm stood. So you can see the building that was the Swanage building, the first Dalstonian school. It provided accommodation for 10 further boys, an additional classroom, and a garden. It was called the North Wing. During the summer of 1916, radiators replaced the old fireplaces in the classrooms. Very sophisticated technology. Children were placed in sets for Greek. The headmaster took Form 6 and another form for mathematics. The school year 1916-17 began with 47 boys. The Defence of the Realm regulations forbade the ringing of the school bell after sundown because they had to protect themselves from being attacked, so they had stayed as quiet as possible. On November 5th, the school lost some tiles off the roof in a gale. The scouts were allowed to cook in camps. Bacon, rice, and apple charlotte were on the menu. So you guys do the den, and also in middle school and senior school, we also have camps still, and that is why. Atkinson, the headmaster, discovered that the old Cadet Corps rifles were made in pre-war Germany. New recruits were issued with light poles instead of rifles.